Hello everyone, welcome back. This video is a sequel to my 2022 balcony garden video. In that video, I went into the process of sowing seeds, building different planters from recycled wood panels, how to revitalize old soil, balcony waste safety, transplanting and all that stuff. And in this second part, we will get into my gardening routine, how to maintain a healthy and eco-friendly garden, how to deal with pests, and the best part, harvesting. My balcony garden went through some rough patches this year, but I think it's one of the best growing seasons, in which I wanted to share the process with you. I hope you can learn something from this video. Just for info, I live in Zone 8A northeastern France. Some of you asked me what floor my balcony garden is located on. It's on the 3rd floor. The balcony is 3.2 square meter to be exact, and with that reference, let's get started. In the first part of my balcony garden video, I left you guys off with me planning out in the garden. Now, the next crucial step is to maintain the well-being of the place. On a weekly basis also, I give out bird food. When living in an urban area, I found that it's essential to help feed native birds, as their natural food sources have become more and more limited. Birds play crucial roles in our ecosystem. They help keep the insects population in balance. As a gardening routine, I also make homemade compost, which usually happens once a month. I think maybe it's just me. As a beginner gardener, I thought compost and fertilizer are the same thing with different names. While trying to have a deeper understanding of compost by researching, I found that the term compost and fertilizer are not interchangeable. Compost is actually food for soil microorganisms and microbes. Compost improves soil structure that results in better drainage, aeration, and moisture retention. When you have a decent soil structure, it's improved plant health and growth. Crops need compost to thrive, and there are 17 essential nutrients that plants require. Most of these nutrients are derived from soil. In some cases though, it might not be enough to provide only compost, and this is where fertilizers come in. Most fertilizers are able to provide primary nutrients such as nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Therefore, once every 2 weeks, I also use liquid organic fertilizer mixed with water to feed those hungry plants like tomato, strawberry, and peppers. In my part of the world, July is when summer comes, and summer of 2022 has been tough.
Extreme heat pushing up from Spain.
France is facing yet another heat wave, the third so far this summer.
Today has been the hottest day ever recorded. The country baked under superheated air that sparked fires, buckled train tracks, and touched off a torrent of emergency calls.
In the midst of summer, when water is inadequate, I thought it was a good idea to provide water for birds. I chose this one for my balcony garden because it fits the small space. But then I came to think about it, this bird water is not the best. The well-designed bird water or bird bath should be similar to shallow puddles that mimic natural bird bath sources in nature. I put a rock in the middle, hoping that birds can stand on it. It may or may not work, but it would take months for birdies to get used to any new object in the garden. So I think I will see how it goes. At any time of the year, especially in summer, I try to save as much water as I could by reusing water from household activities, such as cooking and cleaning. For a sense of context, I grew up in the northeastern part of Thailand, which is known to be the driest and droughtiest region in the country. As a part of the culture, I was taught to be resourceful with water, and it's a habit for me to try to find a way to reuse water when possible. My family would use laundry water and water from cleaning dishes in our garden. Today I use built up ice in my freezer to water the garden. And growing up as an Asian, you were always told not to waste any rice water, so I use rice water here as well. When the weather is dry, I also try to maintain wood surfaces in the garden. This is a bird table that I built and installed about almost 2 years now. It's time for some refreshment. I started off with getting rid of mold on the surfaces by coarse, then fine sandpapers, then I reapply linseed oil. When it comes to pest control, there are plenty of ways to reduce pests in the garden. This is the research that I found. Pests generally manifest in monoculture farming, which is a form of agriculture that is based on growing only one type of crops at one time in a specific landfill. Sure, there are pros to this kind of agriculture practice. However, pests tend to be more pervasive for this kind of farming due to the lack of biodiversity. I try to mimic nature as much as I can and try to promote diversity in my small balcony garden by growing variety of vegetables, installing an insect hotel as well as a bird feeder. You could also grow a trap plant, which is a crop that you plant to trap pests that would otherwise attack other garden crops. For example, growing nasturtium and calendula to trap aphids, growing marigolds near your tomato plants to prevent nematodes from attacking their roots, planting sunflowers to trap stink bugs, and the list goes on. But I have to admit that by trying to bring biodiversity to the garden as well as growing trap crops, this year and the year before, I experienced spider mites in some of my crops. I found that pests are inevitably normal and they're part of gardening. I got rid of spider mites by using a homemade soap solution. It consists of liquid savon noir, which is a French equivalent of castile soap. I did not measure exactly the ratio that I used. This is probably 1 teaspoon of savon noir and roughly 300 milliliters of water. Spray about once a week or more frequently in serious cases for a month or until you see improvements. This solution works on direct contact with insects, so make sure you cover all plant surfaces where you can see pests, including the undersides of the leaves, where many pests like to hide. Now the most exciting part, harvesting. For the sake of making this video, it might seem like I harvested my garden at the end of summer all at once, but it's actually an ongoing activity I cultivated throughout the season. By picking your crops over time, it encourages plant growth and reproduction. It's also important to harvest at the right time of the day, which is the morning. Many crops are at their peak of taste and nutrition when they are tender and immature. Other vegetables such as tomato, melons, and winter squash need to be allowed to completely ripen on the vine so that their flavors can become fully developed. Speaking of tomatoes, I try to plant different types of tomato this year in my small balcony garden and try to grow the kind that I possibly can't find in supermarket. I find it fascinating to see unusual and rare tomatoes. As a beginner gardener, I found that the most tricky part in harvesting is those of root vegetables. For leafy greens and fruit, I could get a sense of when to harvest, like when chilies are red, when tomatoes are in the color they are supposed to be. For leafy vegetable, you can simply harvest whenever you wish to do so. The difference would be in taste. Root vegetable though are harder to tell when they're hidden in the ground. In that case, I follow the seed package instruction. It should tell approximately how many days when the root vegetable are ready to be picked. Otherwise, I use my finger to scratch the soil on the surface to see their growth before pulling them out of the ground. I found that my late summer balcony garden looks a little droopy. Some plants suffer from lack of water and sun damage. I feel that it's less important to me to have a perfectly well-maintained green garden when the continent suffers from drought and heat. I water less and make sure to not overwater my garden, ensuring every drop of water is for a good use, recycling water when I could. Although we had such an extremely hot summer in 2022, I do think that I had a great gardening year, and I hope this year will be another fruitful year. If you are preparing your garden for this growing season, I would highly recommend you watch a prequel of this video where I share the process from the beginning of my balcony garden. I will put the link of that video in the description box below. For those of you who have already watched that video, thank you so much for your kind messages and comments. I hope you get some inspirations from this video. Thank you for being here, and I hope to see you again soon. Goodbye.